Hello everybody and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. And this, my friends, is the Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program. And today we have a very special show. I think being a part of, the wine world has a lot of great attributes, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. And I think one of the great parts about it is, just by ratio, I think there's just an enormous amount of great people involved, and a lot of great things are done by those people. And today's guest and his project is something that really hits home for me. I think it's something that I think about quite a bit long-term for myself in general. It's never too early to give, and Lizzie and I believe in that quite a bit. And this is just a very interesting project, so I'm excited about having Budge Brown here with me today. And why don't you tell the Vayner Nation who you are and what this is all about?
My name is Budge Brown, and I've been a farmer all my life, and been in the wine business as a grower for 20 years and as a vintner for 10. And so my wife died 5 years ago of breast cancer, and after a 7-year struggle. And I really was devastated, but I was mad because I felt that the care we got wasn't really what it should be, what it could be.
During the 7-year battle?
Yeah. So you believe in certain things that are not true. And, and they cause a loss. And so, certain chemos in my mind are devastating. And if I treated my vines like they treat those women, they'd all be dead. So I just, in my mind, it just, as a simple farmer, I just cannot believe that you poison people to make them better. So I just began looking for different ways to help women. I wanted to help women with something that will last beyond my time and in my lifetime. So I'm building a winery for the purpose of donating 10% off the top to breast cancer and to selected...
Of sales.
Pardon?
10% of sales,
of
which
sales.
I think is an important thing to, a lot of time people,
There's
people
no profit in the wine business, so I mean,
That's right.
It's easy to say, I'll give away 20%,
50% of profit.
Yeah,
it's like,
because there isn't any. But in this case, 10% of the profit, and we direct all of it. Every bit of it goes to help women, some personally, and we were able to help start a clinic in Bastyr University in Washington. There's a marvelous healer up there, Dr. Leanna Standich, and I got to know her through a friend and talking to her, and she said, I've just done 17 years of research, and I think I can do something for breast cancer that's positive, and I'd like to try. And I said, well, what can we do to help? So we made a small donation, really a $40,000 donation, to start this clinic, and so far they've treated 148 women. Wow. And doing extremely well, particularly with breast cancer. They haven't had a loss yet. So
they've not had a loss yet.
No, not yet.
Hold on, let's like tap into this for a second, because 148 successes, 0 losses.
Well, 2 came very late out of a
so they were at
cancer college. Fred Hudson is a big college, and not college, but cancer hospital in Seattle. And they work with them, and sometimes they get, when the doctors sometimes give up, they...
So 2 have come to this clinic that were just unfortunately too far along?
And that was not breast cancer, that was internal. It was either uterine or in the ovarian cancer. Very, very far advanced. But other than that, they've done very well. We also contribute... there's a doctor in Santa Rosa, Dr. Lois Johnson, who has had extremely good luck, and she's very smart. And we actually buy and pay for the medicine, and she provides the doctoring for free on women who can't afford this protocol, and we've had great luck too. We're doing really well.
And Budge, a lot of this is alternative medicines?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Kind of not FDA approved?
Well, the problem is that the insurance companies won't pay for it. So if a woman wants this process, she has to pay for it herself.
Out of pocket.
Or other funds. And some women just don't have the funds.
Because these are big numbers, aren't they?
No.
No, not big numbers.
No.
So it's not super obnoxiously expensive. It's just some people don't even have, just the way it is, right?
We buy a year's medicine for $7,000.
a year's medicine for one person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole sad part of it all, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. In the 5 months that they gave my wife chemo, they killed her in 5 months and cost $180,000. So, you kind of draw a conclusion. They spend $8 billion a year on a cure, and there isn't one. At least when you talk to them, there's not one. And I beg to differ. So it's just my...
Yeah, it's your own personal view.
Yeah, my own personal view.
Okay, so let's step a little bit further back, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, because you're a charming chap, and I just want to know a little bit more. You've been a farmer all your life, you said. I paid attention very carefully. Does that mean you were farming something besides wine?
Oh yeah, I was.
Where were you born?
Well, I was born in Stockton. Started off at 4 years old. My father bought a walnut orchard. I was raised there, and he was in a different business, which I wasn't particularly interested in. That's why I was interested in talking to your dad. But because one of my sons manages our vineyards, and my daughter manages our internet, and I have another vineyard, a winery, and so most of my kids work in companies I either started or I'm running now, and it's marvelous when it works.
What did your dad do?
He was in women's ready-to-wear, fine women's clothing.
Fine women's clothing.
Yeah.
And you decided to not get involved in that.
I decided not
Just
to.
didn't fire you up.
Well, no, it didn't. I worked all through my high school days at the store, and decided that I'd rather be a farmer. So
That's a big, it's a big move.
it was a big move.
Was your
because
dad
nobody
upset?
in my family farmed, so I had to go out and learn it on my own.
What drew you to farming?
Well, I lived
The
on a walnut
walnuts,
orchard,
yeah.
and we started out doing custom walnut harvesting and custom walnut taking care of other people's vineyards, and
So that was it.
just built from there. And I went into alfalfa, and I've grown tomatoes. And
How upset was your dad that you didn't go into the business?
no, he helped me.
Good. He supported it.
Yeah, he was good.
So you started with alfalfa and then tomatoes?
Well, we've done tomatoes over the years. We had 270 acres of tomatoes last year.
It's a lot of tomatoes, Mott.
Well, not compared to some growers, but
not a lot of tomatoes,
we
Mott.
farm close to 1,000 acres now. So, and we have 420 acres of
And you decided to get
grapes.
into grape growing 30 years ago, you said?
No,
20?
well, yeah, I bought a little 55-acre ranch that had, what was it, white wine? Don't come to me. I get little brain.
Yeah, no,
clicks
I
once in a
get
while.
it too. Don't worry. It's not an age thing, it's just a brain thing.
French Colombard, and it got to the point we couldn't sell it, so we grafted it to Cabernet, and we did well with it. And so little by little, we, as we acquired more real estate, and we had a very large apricot orchard, which was taken out because the market went away to Turkey. And so we planted apricots. Grapes.
Yep, no worries.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful vineyard. It's got a terroir that's very similar to Bordeaux. Cool nights. Temperatures drop pretty good. We have very, very deep soil, rocky, gravelly soil, and raises wonderful grapes. And
So-
then the other vineyard is in Napa, a hillside vineyard.
The hillside vineyard in Napa, which is always exciting.
Yes, that is exciting, and that's where the Petit Sirah comes from.
You have Cleavage Creek. Do you have another label outside of this that you produce under, or is this the only one?
Well, this is the only one for Cleavage Creek right now. We're developing.
But you have another
a new,
brand,
a
or
new,
no?
No, we're developing a new label for this
Right.
upscale, a Budge Brown label.
But this is the only, but you were growing for a while, and then you started. You told
I
me
have another
earlier.
winery.
Yes. What is that?
With my younger daughter.
And that is called
That's
what?
Tulip Hill.
Tulip Hill. Right. Okay. And how's that going?
Going all right.
How many years in on that?
10 so far.
And what's the signature kind of varietal from Tulip?
Well, she does a lot of stuff. We
I like the smile you gave.
we-
Maybe a couple more than you think she should.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I mean, she's very innovative in her name and so forth, and we have a lot of fun with our varieties and mix them up. So we have she does about 18 bottles, I think.
And that started prior to this, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that started, you were saying out here, because, one day somebody who was going to buy the grapes just showed up and said, we're not buying them.
Right.
And you said, well, I need to do something with this.
Well, I'm not going to throw them on the ground. So
Well, that's
I
not
do
good
something.
business.
No, it's not.
And so, did you try to find another buyer, or did that kind of say, I've been feeling maybe we should do our own label, it might be time, and this is the little push I needed?
We grow 4,000 tons of grapes, so we have other buyers.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you were kind of feeling like you wanted to get into
Well, we did it in 90. We had that first little vineyard, and we bottled some in 90, and had another guy do it in Napa, and he drank most of it, so that didn't work out very well. So we just kind of love what we're doing, and I'm a passion. I've been collecting wine for 50 years.
Is that right?
Yeah. And
so you've been collecting wine for 50 years? Yeah. And are you a Francophile back then? I mean, that's what people pretty much drank, right?
I did a lot of French wine way back in the 80s, you know, and we were there in 84, and I really love Saint Emilion wine, and so, but, you know, when you're raising a family and all that, you sometimes can't afford a $100 bottle of wine. So. Anyway, it's a long story, but we've always farmed, and we've been in the grape business, selling wine and selling grapes. So we just decided, and I after my wife died, I decided I wanted to do something just special for women. I want the vineyard in the new winery. We're just building a new winery right now. Is designed for women who've been diagnosed or whatever to come. We got gardens, and we're going to be building more gardens and a place of refuge.
You know, I mean, when you think about that on paper, that is obviously going to be an amazing place to do fundraising and events, and, you know, we're all excited to see that.
Well, we're very excited to get our tasting room open finally, because then we have a home, you might say, and it's a beautiful little ranch. And
what's the distribution on Cleavage Creek? Like,
where
do you do it?
So,
direct to consumer.
Yep.
So no real retail outlets.
Really, no.
Have you thought about that, or do you feel like...
I'd love to, but you can't get a distributor.
That's right. I mean, you really can't. It's difficult right now.
It's very difficult.
Especially right now, and then obviously, you know, unfortunately they'll look at this as maybe conceivably a novelty play in their mind.
You know, people get a bad impression sometimes when they hear the name, because it started out kind of a racy deal.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. When I first heard the name, too, I was like, which direction is this going? You know, I mean, it's a pretty, you know, and in hindsight now, especially, you know, I definitely didn't think that the person behind Cleavage Creek looked like this. I can tell you that right now. The first time I heard the name, but in hindsight,
Joe Navis was sitting
listen, you know what I think. You know,
I know, yeah. I can see that.
But what I think is, I think, you know, I think it's perfect. I think when you put it all together, I think it's absolutely perfect.
Well, you know, we thought by putting the pictures of survivors on the label,
which is outrageously powerful,
honor and support.
I mean, these are real people that really survived from the 148 people that are in this program,
well, no,
or these are just
these people are ones that we pick. We interview about 100 people a year.
How do you do that?
Well, Lorraine does it. She
Lorraine, Lorraine's off camera. Lorraine, why not the people that are through the clinic that you're really supporting? Have you considered that? I mean, you have 148 of them. Are all 148 shy?
But it's all new. I mean, that's all new.
Got
because that clinic just opened within the last year and a half.
Got it. And plus, you've got to be you've got to be wired a certain way to allow yourself to be on the picture of a bottle, too.
Well, you know, that, too. It's,
right?
You know, the first go-around when we called these women up and said, we're going to take you to Palm Springs and do a photo shoot, they thought, oh, my God, where are we going?
Yeah.
But I bought this label from another gentleman who started it, and, of course, he started with a very racy, sexy-looking red
I
lipstick.
see. So you bought the name. You didn't come up with Cleavage Creek.
No.
You bought the name, and he was going with that kind of play, and you took it in a different direction.
Well, my daughter called me one day and said, Dad, you're looking for a label. I said, yeah, I am. He says, I think I found one. It's for sale. So I said, what is it? She told me, I went, oh, my. But the more I got to think about it, the more it fit. Obviously, that's what we're about, is breast cancer, and to come up with a cure and help in that respect every way we can. We're just small. There's only 4 of us working on this project, and so I thought, you know, at least it's a name people won't forget.
Mott, you know what? I just had a thought. I'm not even going to wait. I think we should put this episode on the Hall of Fame. This way, it'll be seen a lot more, and it allows us to, you know, do our small little part in your quest. Let's taste some wine. What do you think?
Terrific.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun part about it.
I told Lorraine this morning, if he spits it out, I'm going to walk.
Well, I'm going to spit it out, but I'm going to spit into my trusty Jets bucket.
I see that. You're not a fan, are you?
No, I'm just a small little casual. I'm what you call a diehard. So this is the 07 Tracy Hills Merlot Shiraz.
Right.
And I see on the back of the label, there's a paragraph for all of them where it just mentions their name, right? Susan and Jen and Deborah. You got it? So this is 67% Syrah, 33% Merlot. $18 is the price on this.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of production?
It's all pretty small in the 200 to 300 cases.
So all these are quite small.
Quite small.
I mean, listen, the Vaniacs who are watching right now, I think are going to be so charmed by you. If they all buy one bottle, I think you're going to be sold out.
Well, we have other bottles. We've got 19 bottles altogether.
So you have 19 different blends.
Different ones with different labels, yeah.
Got it. Okay, well, let's give it a sniffy sniff.
Okay.
That's what I call the smell.
The four S's.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, do you agree that people don't smell their wines enough?
Absolutely. Well, a lot of people just don't know how, and that's one of the things we do on our website is we have a little blurb on how to treat wine and how to sniff it and smell it and sip it and taste it and swirl it. And as you swirl it, it gives off the esters and makes the bouquet much better. And all the bouquet is part of it's kind of a process, I think. It's a lovely way to have a dinner. It's a lovely way to spend time with your friends.
Do you drink wine with every dinner you
Almost,
have or no?
Yeah.
Almost every.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And wine's good for you. Resveratrol has been known now to be wonderful health-wise. And
It's good
also,
for the heart.
Not only that, I just read a new article about your kidneys. It's a great antioxidant for kidneys.
Now, what kind of oak treatment is this getting? Because I can smell there's a good, solid.
Well, that's right. We do everything in oak barrels.
100% oak?
Most of the time, yeah. We do a little bit of, for our white wine, we do a little bit of stainless steel.
Okay.
But everything else is in oak. It's usually 15, 16, 18 months, depending on how the wine develops in the barrel. We're very picky about our barrels, and we have a variety of different barrels that we use to bring out the taste that we like. And I'm kind of a fanatic about the Syrah, Cabernet, and Merlot mixes. I learned that when I was in Australia. I think the Australians do a great job.
It's funny you said that. You know, I just tasted it, and right off the bat, the thing I was going to say is this really has Australian-like tendencies, not in the way I used to define it, which being too over the top, just a lot of fruit.
Well, that's the other thing about wines. I don't like wines that burn going down. I don't want to buy wine. I have to wait 3 or 4 years to drink it. I think it's...
Are you saying here you're not a patient man?
I do have wines that were old. In fact, some of them were just stolen from me. But anyway...
Stolen?
Yeah.
You had some rare old wine stolen?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
That sucks.
I had a 62 Cheval Blanc.
Stolen?
Stolen, yeah.
Why? Because people could get access to your cellar?
Well, they found out a way to get into it, so they did, yeah.
Do we have any leads on...
No,
we have some private investigators that watch this show.
Good, Irish.
That sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It really did. It was in a house I just moved out of, and the cellar was still there. So, anyway, but that's a different story. But for my own enjoyment of wine is I like wine that's very fruit forward, smooth. It's got a lot of character and a great finish, and it's full in the mouth, and it fills your mouth.
Budge, this is a very big wine. You know, I'll tell you. Given the fruit and the purity of this, the wine is very fairly priced. I mean, you know, when I always think, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, so I think about business a lot of times. So when I think, okay, 10% of the profits, and there's costs involved, and you know, all these things. Almost always, when I've seen those kind of projects in the wine world, you taste it and you're like, oh, I see what's happening here. This is a $20 wine that they're selling for $40, and there's a, you know, that's why they can do this. When I taste this tastes easily an $18 wine, knowing California pricing, maybe even like a $25 wine. Well, and I think you guys know me well enough. Yes, I'm in love with him, and yes, this is an amazing cause. But at the end of the day, I take this seat to make sure I'm doing the right thing by the crowd. You know, I just wouldn't bring this up, and I probably would have went through the, you know, show and just did my thing and hope that you'll support this. But this is quite interesting to me. I mean, I fully went in looking at Syrah Merlot blend. I'm like, this could be a $10 wine, and this delivers what the $18 to $25 price category in California right now delivers. And I think that's quite, you know, now getting to know you makes sense. But, you know, unfortunately, I'm not the biggest optimist with, you know, charity project wines because everybody's doing the wrong thing. It gets me upset. They use it as a business model. That's not where you're coming from, clearly, with your backstory. But you're kind of over delivering on the, you know, I don't know. I almost feel like when this is done, I'm going to say, Budge, I think you should charge $25.
It's a $30 bottle. Okay, and when you discount it to your wine club members and so forth, but within today's market, trying to move wine today, and
that's a
times
good point.
are tough. We dropped it below $20.
That's right, and you're in a place where you need to generate these dollars, one way or another.
So it's a great buy, and the way I look at it, it's a triangle.
It really
it's a great buy. The money goes for a great reason, and when the person buys a bottle, they become a contributor.
To a very good thing.
Yeah.
And that's what life's really about.
I think so.
I think so too.
But I'm glad you like it. I fell in love with these wines 30 years ago when I was spending time in Australia, and I love the boldness of combining two things that a Frenchman would die not to do. Nobody mixes a Bordeaux with a Burgundy.
Right.
Anyway, but
or in this case, a Rhone wine.
Right, and I love the wine. So we do make a Cab Sirah, which we switch around. We have some fun. Ron Wiegand, I don't know if you know him, but he knows you. He's one of the 12 best in the world.
Yep.
You know his name?
Yeah, absolutely.
He said to say hi.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we were doing tasting trials with him just last Wednesday.
Absolutely.
And we have some new wines coming out that just blow the doors off of everything we've ever done.
Under this label.
And he's really excited about it.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good. Let's move on. You tasted it?
I will drink it all.
You don't?
I would, yeah.
Oh. Oh, would drink it all. I said, not drink it all. Wait a minute. What just happened?
It's too good to spit out.
I agree. Now, how long are you in town for?
Till tomorrow morning.
You flying back?
No, we're going to Boston. Lorraine's daughter's graduating from university.
Congratulations. From where?
BU.
Oh, that's where my brother AJ graduated from last year.
Oh, great.
Yep. It's a great graduation. All right, let's move on. Now, Budge, are you a sports fan?
A little bit. I used to be a Raiders fan, but when they moved to LA, it kind of
soured on it. But they came back to you.
Yeah,
but that's all right. But with Budge, if you cross them once, you're done.
I don't know, but anyway, they don't do very well. But I just too busy really to watch. I'm working most all the time, 7 days a week. So
hustle. So this is the Secret Red.
Yeah, this is fun wine. You know, we think that wine should be fun.
No, wait a minute. Is it a secret because you don't tell us what's in it?
Well, we tell you kind of, but you can probably pick it up with your palate. You can probably tell me exactly what's in it. So you can tell me what's in it.
I see the milk chocolate, so that's going to make me think there's some Cabernet in it. You know, vanilla cream. That's great. So you call it the secret wine. Does this allow you, and $18 on this, does this allow you the flexibility to blend? Is that why you did this?
It's all blended wine. We have one of them that's got 5 different blends in it, you know.
Do you have any Blue Portuguese?
No, I don't have any.
Remember that one?
No.
That was a very rare variety. No. French Colombard's pretty funny. You walked right in when that was at its height. Huh? Yeah. That was a big grape back then. I was looking at some old. Yeah. I was looking at some old reports because I'm a nerd. You know, of just like what sold and what was produced. Yeah. I mean, French Colombard was out of control.
Oh yeah, it was great. And
was it easy to grow?
Down. So yeah, it was easy to grow. And but you know, we've learned a lot in the last 30 years about growing grapes and what it takes in the vineyard. And to make good wine, you have to have good grapes. And we feel that we have exceptional grapes, exceptional vineyards, and we pick at the right time, and we water at the right time, and we use deficit irrigation to save on water and keep the berry size down. So it's all part of a long-term process to make really good wine, and we're working our way through to come up with the very best that we can do.
So you know the blend of this?
Yeah, I know what it is.
But it's a secret. Or do I have to guess?
Well, I think I want you to taste it.
Yeah, I mean, for my palate,
you've got a great palate, so you should be able to pick it right out.
Oh, he's setting me up for the kill. For me, though, on my palate, I do like this a little bit more than the prior one. It has a little less residual sugar on my palate. It's a little more chalky. It's got Cabernet tendencies, that I tend to like. It's got big fruit, but it's a little slightly less oaked than the last wine, which is much, much more towards my palate.
Well, we don't like over oak stuff,
and not that the last one was, but because of the Syrah, it was so big, right? Whereas that's
a big wine.
That's right. Yeah. This still has a lot of fruit.
Oh yeah,
a lot. Fruit. But there's chalkiness, which I like. There's a little like dark chocolate kind of thing going on.
A nice finish.
Yeah, I like the finish.
Great finish.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Cabernet, comes through a little bit. There's also, on the back end with the fruit, It almost feels a little Zinfandel-like to me, like there could be a splash.
Close.
What is it?
Sangiovese.
Sanjo. I'm devastated right now.
And Syrah.
And Syrah. I mean, the fruit on the back end, and it has a little bit like a black pepper spiciness, which is what kind of led me towards Zin. But Sanjo can do that as well. And how much new oak is this seeing? Zero?
No, not too much. But a lot of it's second time barrels. You know, they're not too powerful.
Which I like.
Yeah.
I mean, because do you feel right now in California too many people are over oaking the wines, which are losing kind of the essence of what it is?
For me, absolutely, because oak covers up all of the fruit, and you can't taste the fruit if it's over oaked, and I just don't believe in that.
Do you think they're doing it to hide the flaws?
I wouldn't want to say that, but
but you'd like me to say it.
you can say it. I'm not going to say it.
And you're not going to argue with me.
I mean, you've had some of the best winemakers in the world at this table, and who am I? You know, I'm just new at
You do have
this.
one of the best names.
Huh?
Budge, that's a pretty great name.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's not the most common name.
No, it's not.
How did you?
I can't get away with anything with that name.
Do you know how you got that name? Is that a nickname or is that your real name?
Yeah, it's a nickname.
It's a nickname, isn't
Yeah,
it? All right. Now we're getting into the good stuff.
Good stuff. My mother would never own up to it, so I don't know how I got it.
She won't tell you.
No, in fact, when I was a kid, I would kick people who called me that. So.
But now you've embraced it.
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, you know, I had some money in a bank account one time, and one day I'd be rich, the next day I'd be poor, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And the guy said, "We have 26 Robert Browns in the bank." So I go, "Oops, well, what do I do?" So
Love it.
I became Budge Brown.
I love it. And this is the Reserve Petit Sirah,
Yeah,
which is
my
such a
favorite,
great...
yeah.
This is one of your favorites?
Look at the color.
I mean, Petit Sirah, you've got a lot of people who are watching this show. You know, you got Kahuna, and you got Krista Cobb. There's a lot of people that love Petit Sirah that are fans of this show.
I just think it's where it's at.
You do. You think that if push came to shove, that California should be focusing on
No,
Petit
I
Sirah?
don't want everybody growing Petit Sirah when
You want
I
to keep
grow
the
it.
secret? You want to keep the
but
market?
I just think it's a great wine. It's got everything.
This is
the wine should
45.
have.
So this is, obviously a considerable jump from the prior.
right.
Are we talking about, the Napa Valley hillside kind of
Yes,
fruit?
right.
So that's the kind of price points these
Right,
command.
Yeah.
And who's making these wines?
Well, we make them in-house, and
So
Ron
who's the
Rieger
winemaker?
helps us. And
He's
then
the
we have a
consultant.
guy- He's a consultant, and then we have a guy, Mike Goulash, that really is more hands-on. But we're all involved. We're out there. I walk the vineyards. We do the picking. We're involved in everything.
Let me say
And
this.
he's very good. And Ron is just phenomenal. That's where the Secret Red kind of blossoms because of his ability to blend things.
Master blender.
Oh,
Like a chef. You take the ingredients and you know what to do with
Look
it.
at that. Look at that.
Forget about looking at it. I tasted
Look at
it.
Here, look at
Forget about looking at it, Budge. Charming, amazing, sweet as apple pie. I hope, I don't know how to position it because I feel like, you can tell I'm in love, but I don't want you to think. I wouldn't say it. So I guess the best way I can say is it's a very surprising project. I wanted this show because it's the right thing to do and it's the right message to talk about. And it was nice to see, I did a little homework and I could tell I get bombarded with people wanting to be on the show for the exposure that are doing things similarly. And a lot of them come from the genesis of being a business person and using the good cause as not an upfront, but, it is what it is. This project never felt that way. Having Budge and when we come here today makes me completely believe in intuition because that's what I use to book this show. And on top of the fact that everybody watching this who can afford to support it should, and I hope could, it's really, really amazing how good the wines are. I think that I wish people could... I'm excited because I think you guys are going to be as charmed by this guy as I am, and you will go out and probably buy a bottle or two and support it. And I'm sure the ones who've been touched by this devastating disease will do that as well. Because you're probably donating anyway, and why not get a great bottle of wine out of it? But I think the big surprise takeaway is when you do open the bottles, how solid the wines are. I think that's pretty darn cool. And I think the shocking part for me is the way you price them. As a matter of fact, the entrepreneur in me is a little bit angry about it. I think I want to bump you up a little bit, but I understand the market
We
conditions.
live with that.
Yes, I understand. I mean, I think
can live
the
with that.
Petit Sirah's positioned. I think I've had $37 to $50 Petit Sirah that tastes like this, so 45 doesn't scare me. But that middle secret wine at $18 is downright interesting. Downright taking off my hat about the better cause. Like, you know, and if I was buying right now for Wine Library, I'd be like, if I can get them to go down a little lower and sell this for $15.99, $16.99, people are going to lose their mind. I mean, that's a very...
How much do you want me to ship you?
I love this guy. I'm in. Listen, you want to open up to retail, we'd be happy to be a partner. We can talk about that off the camera. We got to find the right distributor who will not want to take too much of the action.
Right, that's true. And pay us.
Yes, and pay you.
We just got clobbered by a distributor. So.
Did you?
Yeah.
With the other brand?
Well, with this brand. Yeah.
Oh, so you do have some distributors?
I tried a year ago, yeah. We just got clobbered really bad. Yeah.
Who on earth can walk this earth and clobber this project? A human being.
They did.
If you guys could just see Mott's face right now, you're gonna start getting an angry army of people. Budge, I can't thank you enough for not only being here on the show and bringing us one of the one of the best shows, period. But for what you're doing, and to tackle issues on this level, it seems so big for everybody. It seems so big, and to be a part of what you're doing, and for us to play a small little tiny itsy bitsy piece in your journey, it makes us feel better.
Well, you could be a big piece because we're small, and we need what
exposure.
You're saying. The thing that's so exciting to me is that we've actually found ways for women to heal themselves, and women and where they can go and what they can do to get better, to really get better. And we have women on our labels that have done that.
The number is staggering.
And it's getting worse and worse. And I have a lot of comments on that, and I'm told not to get on my bucket, quit standing up and shouting. But
did they try to control you before you came on the show here?
No.
They said keep your emotions in check. Don't get too
excited. But
because you get pissed sometimes.
Oh, I was pissed. That's why I started this. Because of the 7 years I went through, and I lost my wife. Pissed me off. Just pissed me off.
Well, I hope this can be one little piece into not allowing that to happen to somebody else.
Well, I think if there's any message that we could give, would be that women must learn to take charge of their own disease and learn more about it before they choose a doctor.
Options.
In fact, options. Well,
a lot of people don't recognize there are options.
Oh, there are lots of them. And you know what? The disease doesn't come on overnight. So there's no reason to hurry now that they've found out they've got it. They've got to take their time, relax. It's not a death sentence. And they have to figure out what they can do to help themselves and make the right decisions for themselves.
And what about getting yourself checked? I mean, that to me seems like, you always think about, everything, right? It's always about, it's once you're there, it's a whole different battle. I mean, a lot of people are just closing their eyes and not getting themselves checked. A lot of women, I mean, that to me seems like the most, that education, I think we're in a totally different place than we were, 15 or 20 years ago,
well,
but I think there's
a lot of controversy about that.
Is that right?
And more, and I have my own thoughts on it, and I've been told to be quiet and not talk about them.
Well, let's say they are your thoughts. In general, what are some of the thoughts on that? Because I'm now curious.
We contributed to Sutter Hospital in Santa Rosa on their cancer clinic for a new machine called the Aurora machine. Now, the Aurora machine is 200 times better than mammogram, and it's not invasive.
And so are you saying some people feel that the mammogram is invasive and could conceivably be an issue?
Well,
I know this is a tough spot for you, but I see that's where you're...
This is just farmer talk. If I treated my alfalfa the way we treat women, they'd all be dead.
And that's the bottom line, right?
And that's the bottom line.
And we're not so different than the farm.
Well, you take a tissue and you squeeze the hell out of it and hurt it every year in exactly the same spot.
Eventually that spot becomes a...
becomes a tumor. And I think that's just my own humble opinion.
You only person. You're not speaking for Cleavage. You're just speaking for you yourself.
For me, myself.
That's an interesting...
And women that I know, I just say absolutely not. Do not. There's too many other ways. There's digital, there's sonograms, there's the Aurora machine, the Canadians have a machine. There's a new one out now called, it's a cup that goes on your breast. I mean, there's so many advanced ways to do this that are better. because mammograms are wrong 40% of the time. So what kind of hell does a woman go through when the mammogram is wrong? You know.
Budge, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Now, the big tradition we have on this show is that the guest gets to ask the question of the day. So you get to tell all the tens of thousands of people that watch this show, you get to ask them a question a day, and they'll leave comments. You're going to get a crap load of comments. Lurkers, Mott, right? Tell the lurkers, Mott. I don't even
come out if you're
this,
ever going to
you know,
come out.
we have something called the lurkers. They watch the show, but they don't leave comments. And I'm not mad at them. I love them, actually. They're actually very endearing to me. They're probably watching on the you know these iPad things and the iPod, you know.
Right.
You know, but you know, this would be, I think, the show to come and leave a comment. Why don't you ask them a question? You can ask any question, and they'll leave their answers.
Any question? Well, you really put me on the spot.
Well, that's what I do.
I know.
You think I got here just by accident?
I did you too.
That's right. Yes, you did. You got me real good.
I don't know. I think the question is when a woman is diagnosed as having a tumor of one kind or another, and you know there's 5 different kinds of breast cancer. There isn't just one. I would ask the question, what would you do next?
Okay.
Okay, what would you plan next to do in order to overcome this?
It's a fair question.
That would be my question.
Okay.
Because we're doing I got a new little thing we're going to put on the internet, and I've already gotten a response back from one of my doctors, and I'm going to get 3 more, is the 10 things that you should do after you've been diagnosed before you choose a doctor.
No, I think
And
preparation.
So that's my question of the day.
Well, that's very fair. Now, one last thing. I'm about to sign off. CleavageCreek.com. When is the winery going to be open?
Well, we've been
have
trying for
broke
2
ground?
years to get permits, and
Have you
it's
broke
getting
ground?
close. Yeah, we've broken ground. The building is up. We haven't got our final permits yet,
Okay.
but I hope within the next 4 months.
And that will be where?
It's at Pope Valley, which
Yeah,
is the
sure.
way Napa used to
Yep.
be.
Yes,
in,
I'm
in
very aware.
California.
I'm very
And
aware.
that's where all the best wines from Napa
Listen,
come
it's a very interesting debate about that.
It
That's a
is,
separate
yeah.
nerdy wine debate.
from. Right.
Well, I hope that after you watch this, and I hope if you're watching this 5 years from today, because that's a cool thing, you know, this lives forever.
Taste this one more time.
I
Look at the
will,
color.
I will. I like this guy. The consummate. I hope you come and visit these guys and support some of the things they do. Butch, thank you so much for being on the show.
Appreciate it.
I really
You're a
appreciate
good
it.
man.
Thanks, bud. You, with a little bit of me and a whole lot of this guy, we're changing the wine world.